Stars. What's up? What's up? Hey, rock stars. I'm Allie, your Rockstar Bar Girl. What is going on? It has been a while since I've been on. Thank you guys for commenting, liking, watching the last tip of the week. For those of you who don't know, the tip of the week is no longer a weekly tip of the week, just to kind of spread it out a little bit, give people more time to check out the tip of the week. What I've been doing is doing them less frequently and posting about it earlier on in the week so people are aware that they're happening. So hopefully people were able to see my posts on YouTube or Instagram, letting you know that I'd be going live today with a tip of the week. So hello, whoever's in here. As I wait for more people to come in, I'll just tell you a couple of things. So obviously a lot has changed since the last tip of the week, which was like a month ago or so. And, you know, the elephant in the room, obviously everyone is dealing with the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic. And there have been some really dramatic changes to our way of life, particularly as it relates to the hospitality industry that have occurred in the last month. And I thought it would be a good idea because as somebody in the industry, I follow a lot of different pages and am aware of a lot of different organizations, foundations, groups, etc., that are doing their own version of whatever to try to help out as best that they can or provide resources as best that they can. And I thought it might be a good idea for me to try to consolidate this information that I've been getting all over the place and try to give as much of it to you as I could in one video so that you could be, have a resource with a lot of information in it rather than getting all of this information piecemeal. So that's the first thing. The next thing that I want to let you know is that this information is changing on literally a day-to-day, sometimes hour-to-hour basis. New sources of funding and assistance are being created. Some organizations and groups are merging together and merging their resources. Websites are experiencing technical difficulties. Phone lines are backed up. So there are a lot of changes that are happening all the time. Not to mention, the government is in a continuous process of deciding what it's doing. Our state governments are in a continuous process of figuring out what they're doing. And so different resources and forms of assistance are being created and changing every single day. So, definitely try to stay on top of that information. And if there are dramatic changes to the information that I give you in this video today, I will make another one to update you all. So this is the information that I have that is, valid as of today. The hell is today's date? I don't know what day. I haven't left the house since Sunday. I'm pretty sure that today is Friday. I don't know when I will be leaving the house again, doing my part to flatten the curve. So, yeah, I think it's Friday, something like the 24th, maybe? 25th, something like that. But as of whenever the date of this video is, that's when this information has been up to date as far as I know. I'm looking over here because I have a bunch of notes and printouts and various things that I have gotten that are going to help me stay organized and make sure that I give you guys the right information. So that is that. The next thing that I want to let you know is that, and this is really important, I am not associated with any of the organizations, government agencies, community groups, or charities that I am going to be telling you about, okay? So I'm going to do my absolute best to give you the information that I have and let you know what type of funding that group is providing. But I am not affiliated with any of these groups. I do know people on the board of some of these nonprofits and et cetera, et cetera. But I have nothing to do with the administration of these funds. And I am not a part of the decision process of qualifying people. I can't really give you information on whether or not you will be eligible or you will qualify, or if you're going to receive money. I can't tell you why, you didn't get approved or anything like that. So just bear that in mind. Happy to answer any questions or take comments in the comment section, but just know that if you want more information on your specific situation, it's best to reach out to these nonprofits and groups directly and try to get in touch with someone from those organizations. Also, it has come to my attention because I have posted about some of these organizations on my social media pages, and some of the commentary that I have gotten in response is, I don't think this is legitimate. I've been calling all day. No one's answering my call. The website keeps crashing, et cetera, et cetera. And what I can tell you in that regard is all the information that I'm going to give you has been vetted to the extent that I can vet them, right? So I have taken the time to go to these websites, see from my own perspective whether or not they are legitimate. A lot of these foundations are foundations that are created by groups and organizations that have been around for years. And so I'm familiar with them because they are established groups in the hospitality industry. But one of the reasons why you are most likely going to experience difficulty with getting your application submitted or hearing back, etc., is just because of the incredible flood of applicants and interest. Okay, so if you have tried to submit an application 10, 20 times, if you have called a phone number 50, 100 times and you haven't been able to get through, it is far more likely that it is because of an influx of traffic than it is that the organization is somehow not legitimate. I don't see, and maybe this is me being entirely too optimistic or even naive, but I don't see a lot of people creating fake foundations around this issue right now. And like gaining the notoriety necessary to get like national publication, because this information that I'm providing to you comes from national sources for the most part. So keep trying, okay? Keep trying. The sources that I have taken this information from has been my own social media access. So people who have contacted me about foundations, tagged me in various things, posted things that I am aware of, and also from Imbibe magazine and Chilled magazine. So I will be linking the articles that I've gotten this information from down below in the description box, as well as linking the website to the things that I have come across on social media down in the description box below. So don't worry if you don't catch a full email address or something like that. Everything will be down below, or will be in one of the articles that I am referring you to. I highly recommend that you subscribe to Chilled Magazine and or Imbibe. If you subscribe to Imbibe right now, $5 of every subscription will be donated to the Restaurant Workers Community Foundation COVID-19 Relief Fund. And that's one of the funds that I'm actually going to talk to you about in a second. That's great. So if you want to get useful information about what's going on in the hospitality industry, but also give back to a notable national fund, that's a great way to do it. Chilled Magazine continues to be and has been for ever, I think, free to hospitality industry professionals. So when you go to put in your information for your subscription, if you tell them you're a hospitality worker, then your subscription is actually automatically free. I have been a subscriber to Chilled Magazine for years now. so I can confirm that their subscription is in fact free. And they also have resources and are constantly updating their articles with resources about COVID-19 and information about what's happening in the hospitality industry as a result. So I would definitely do that. All right, so I'm gonna get started. And I want to start off just because it will, I imagine that people are most interested in funding directly for bartenders and servers. So I'm going to start off with resources for bar owners and restaurant owners, small business owners, and people whose businesses have been affected by COVID-19, just because I think there's probably fewer folks on this page. And there are also fewer resources at the moment in that regard. There is quite a bit of government funding and government assistance that is both on the national level and state by state. So if you have a small business, bar, restaurant, and you've been affected by the pandemic, definitely check out what your state governments and what the national government is doing. Also check out what your local banks or your particular banking institutions are doing, because all of those entities are doing their own thing in terms of helping small businesses either get grants, loans, relief, et cetera, et cetera. So definitely check out those avenues. But in terms of what I have learned, is there are a couple of foundations that are giving grants specifically for small businesses. So first of all, Shopify. Shopify is a platform that many of you might be familiar with. You might be selling your goods or services. I don't know if they do services, but definitely products. Can private mixing parties hire people? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Joy. Can you clarify that question? I'm happy to answer it, but I don't understand. I think you're asking like if people are throwing private parties, can you hire a bartender? If that's your question, yes. The government, few people, too risky. The government, I don't think, has put any limitations on like what you are doing in your own home. Certainly community centers, event spaces, things like that, if they're not considered a necessary business, they might not be open for business, so you can't throw an event there anyway. But if you're just throwing a private party in your home, I don't think anybody can really stop you from doing that. So if you find a bartender who's willing to do that, certainly. I know a couple of bartenders who have online businesses, and while they have stopped doing in-person events, they are still delivering their services. So like at Miss Boom Bartender on Instagram, she is delivering her pre-made liquors and juices and like drink packages and stuff like that, like to your home and stuff. So if you're throwing a party and need liquor and things like that, people are still doing that. I know a lot of liquor stores are still open for business. North End Wine and Liquor here in New York is still open. We've made a couple of runs there for our own purposes. And I do know that a lot of bars and restaurants who have had to close for dining in service. The SLA, which is the State Liquor Authority here in New York, has given them the okay to sell their liquor for carry out, which is usually something you need a special permit for. But the SLA has kind of loosened up their regulations in that regard so that bars and restaurants can do to-go cocktails, to-go liquor, to-go beer. So if you're looking to find alcohol, you should still be able to track down alcohol for your party. And I'm sure you can find through social media and things like that private bartenders who need to make money and would be more than happy to come to your house and still bartend for you. So that's kind of a personal thing. But back on the issue of small business assistance, Shopify has put together a list of government relief programs. So if you are somebody who was selling bar-related products on Shopify, they have some resources that could be helpful to you. Facebook, if you were selling your products on Facebook, they have launched a $100 million grant program for small businesses that you can apply to, and you can find this information again linked down below. This information is coming from the Chilled magazine article. So rather than putting everything in the description box, I'm just going to link the article. So check the Chilled magazine link article for that information. Yelp is doing something similar. They are doing a $25 million relief effort specifically for small businesses that you can apply to. The James Beard Foundation has launched a relief fund for independent food and beverage businesses, and they have a website as well in this article. And then the Independent Restaurant Coalition is also working with the James Beard Foundation and Food Policy Action to help restaurants who serve food and are impacted. So those are a number of resources specifically for small businesses, bars, restaurants. All right. Next, let's talk about what most of you are probably the most interested in, and that is funding specifically for individual bartenders and servers. And again, these foundations, resources, nonprofits, agencies, etc., are incredibly overwhelmed and inundated by applicants. All right. So if you think that you're going to just pick up the phone or submit an application and it's going to be like a 2-second process, probably not. Okay, so I just want to give you the heads up about that now. You might need to reapply over and over. Your website might crash. The phone lines might be clogged. You might be number 5,000 on the list to receive funding. Some of the applications associated with these resources are very, very long, in-depth applications that are like pages of information. But hopefully you understand that there is a reason for that. You're going to have to turn off your first world mentality of everything happening right away and you getting everything you want within seconds, and understand that these foundations are doing the best that they can to help out the community. And you're just going to have to commit to trying multiple times. So that's the feedback that I've been getting from everybody is, the website crashed on me 10 times, or I had to reapply every single time. I feel for you. I know it's frustrating, but I believe that if you need the funding, then you will continue to apply and continue to try to get that funding. So I want to start off with probably the foundation that is the most well known. You may have already heard of it if you have not. The United States Bartender Guild is a organization that's been around for 50 plus years. It's a community of bartenders. If you are not already a member of the guild, I recommend consider joining at either now or when all of this is over. It's a great community of bartenders. The focus with them does tend to be on craft bartenders and the craft community, but whether or not you feel like that description applies to you, it's still a worthwhile organization to be a part of. All year long they have various events, various types of education, resources, workshops, etc., that you can participate in if you are a guild member. So it's definitely something that's worth it. They have created the National Charity Foundation. So this is the USBG National Charity Foundation. You can find them at usbgfoundation.org. So this is the charity branch of the Bartenders Guild, and they are probably the biggest foundation right now. They have been getting some very large donations from the big liquor companies around the world. Jameson just gave $500,000. I think Diageo has pledged $1 million, and a lot of liquor brands are giving thousands of dollars to this foundation. And the foundation is giving grants to bartenders in need of emergency assistance. Now, the thing to keep in mind, like I said, the application process is lengthy, as I understand it, and the focus for them is to try to get the money to the bartenders that need it the most. So that means if you qualify for government assistance or things of that nature, you might not be entitled to a grant or something like that. But hopefully you understand the neediest among us need to get this money first, and they need to do their due diligence to make sure that they are being really responsible and really particular about how they give this money out so that, it doesn't come back on them, basically. But that's probably the most well known. So I definitely recommend that you look out for them. The next really well known organization is the Restaurant Worker Community Foundation. And I was actually really lucky to attend an event that they had here in New York last year. And what they are doing to improve the conditions for restaurant workers all over is just fantastic. But they have created a COVID-19 crisis relief fund that is also giving out emergency assistance and funding to bartenders in need. Their website is a lot longer. So like I said, click on the Chilled magazine article link that is going to be in the description box below, and you will be able to see their website and go to their resources. Next, I want to tell you about an organization called Another Round, Another Rally. They are giving out $500 grants to hospitality workers in need, whether you're a bartender or a dishwasher, it does not matter. And so that's pretty awesome because rather than the other organizations that are giving out varying amounts of money, kind of depending on what you need, etc., they are just giving out a flat amount. So if you qualify and you have like the rent coming up, at the end of the month, you need to go buy your groceries, and you could benefit from just getting a $500 check. Go and check out Another Round, Another Rally. You can find them at anotherroundanotherrally.org. And because their process is a little bit simpler, being that they're just giving out a flat amount, you might have a lot more luck with getting qualified and getting some financial assistance from them. The next fund is the National Restaurant Association Educational Fund. They have a fund called Lift Your Spirits, which you can visit at liftyourspirits.org. They are raising money for food service industries, and they are using that money to support the National Restaurant Association Educational Foundation Fund. So liftyourspirits.org, raising money to give to the National Restaurant Association Educational Fund, but you can find the application for that fund at liftyourspirits.org, okay? And just follow the prompts to have access to their grants. The next group I'm going to tell you about is called the One Fair Wage Campaign. They have an emergency fund for tipped workers and service workers. So for those of you who do like food delivery services and things of that nature, and you don't necessarily work for a restaurant or bar, this is a fund that could be really useful for you because their focus is on tipped employees. So if you were getting most of your income or a big chunk of your income from tips, but you weren't necessarily working in a traditional bar or restaurant, and you are finding that you are not getting qualified for some of these funds that are focusing on bar and restaurant workers, the One Fair Wage campaign might be helpful for you because their focus is about tipped employees and making sure that tipped employees are making a fair wage, even though they live off of tips. All right. So those are the foundations and resources that are just giving out cash grants that are just giving people money. Obviously, our needs as bartenders, servers, etc., goes beyond just needing money. Some of us are finding ourselves with a difficulty or an inability to get food right now, which is a very scary thing. So for those of you who are struggling with feeding yourselves, feeding your families at this time, there are a couple of resources that I want to tell you about. First, I want to bring your attention to CORE, which is the Children of Restaurant Employees. They are an organization that existed prior to this whole situation, but obviously is in great need right now. Their focus is on providing financial assistance and food assistance to the families of restaurant workers. So not only are they giving financial assistance to people who qualify, but they also have resources to help you find free food or low-cost food for children or for yourself in your state. So definitely head over to their website. They have a lot of really useful information. Their website is going to be linked down below in the imbibe.com article there. And so use that link to find out about that organization and get access to them. Also, we have the Lea Initiative, which has partnered up with Maker's Mark, and they are working with restaurants and chefs, supply companies, etc., all around the United States to help provide food and supplies to restaurant workers who need it. Their program is called the Restaurant Workers Relief Program. At the moment, I can confirm that it exists in Louisville, Kentucky, Cincinnati, Ohio, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles, California. But this information is already a few days old, so they have probably already expanded to a couple of other states. So definitely, again, use the Imbibe article link below to find more information on how you can contact them. And basically what they're doing is they are just setting up pop-up shops, food giveaways, delivery programs, shift meal programs, etc., to help bring food to restaurant workers. There are organizations like in Atlanta, you have Giving Kitchen and their Stability Network. In DC, you have Hook Hall with their Coronavirus Worker Relief Fund. In Texas, you have the Southern Smoke Foundation that has the Emergency Relief Fund. In Seattle, you have the Seattle Hospitality Emergency Fund. So all over the country's various states have organizations that are setting up food programs. What I recommend that you do if you are looking for specific food programs, in addition to checking out these funds, is I follow My Neighborhood on Instagram and Facebook. And you can do that. Pretty much every city, town, state, various municipalities actually have their own social media pages nowadays, even right down to your neighborhood. Like my neighborhood has social media pages. Definitely follow all of the social media pages for your community, your neighborhood, your borough, your city, your state. Follow the social media pages of your individual areas because they are posting about any type of food assistance programs that are going on in those areas, whether it's bars and restaurants that have opened their doors to either giving away food or discounted like lunch bags, dinner bags, or government funded programs that are happening. I know in some public schools in the city, the free lunch program that was happening during the school year is still going on. Like the state is still paying for the free lunch program, and the cafeteria of those schools are doing like to-go bags of food for the families in the area who have children. With a lot of those school-based organization giveaways, they require that your child actually be there, which is just to, make sure that people aren't taking advantage. Those meals are for children and for families with children. So, that makes sense. So there might be some limitations or requirements like that. But if you're just trying to find out who is doing that and where that's happening in your neighborhood, definitely follow your local area on social media, your community board on social media, etc. Also, follow the bars and restaurants in your neighborhood on their social media pages. A lot of the bars and restaurants, like here in New York, where dine-in has been prohibited, are still open for business for delivery, for takeout, and some of them are doing food giveaways either for children, families with children, or just for people who are in need. Some of the bigger restaurants who can afford to do that are just opening their delivery window or their takeout window to pretty much anybody who says, I don't have any food, which is amazing and fantastic and wonderful. And if you don't know about those restaurants just yet, follow their social media pages because they will definitely be posting about those initiatives that they are launching or doing for folks. Okay, in Oregon, the Oregon Food Bank Food Finder is created a resource guide with a list of all of the restaurants and places that are offering food assistance to people. And that's just one example. Pretty much every state has something similar. So go to your state's website. Here in New York, I think it's newyork.gov or nyc.gov for the city, and then like newyork.state.gov for the state, something like that. These are all easily Googleable state services. But go to your state's official website in addition to their social media pages, and they will also be providing resources and links to places that are doing food giveaways or discounted food services. Here in New York, City Harvest, which is a really well-known nonprofit that typically focuses on giving food to the homeless and those in shelters, etc. They have expanded their services to include food to individuals and families. So if you're in New York City, City Harvest is something to look into. And if you are elderly, or you know someone who is elderly who can't get out of their house because it's dangerous for them to do so, and they need food services, Meals on Wheels is an organization that focuses specifically on bringing food to the elderly, and they are doing everything that they can to expand their services to all elderly people, not just those who are low income. So definitely look into those organizations. Another organization here in New York, and guys, I'm sorry if I'm giving a lot of information about New York organizations. It's just because I'm here in New York, and so that information is being, sent to me, or it's coming across my window of knowledge more than anything else. But like I said, pretty much every state has their equivalent of these sources, whether they're lists of resources or whether it's individual restaurants, bars, charities, etc., that are doing similar things. So you can use these resources that are about New York, and oftentimes that will link you to other state resources or resources in your state. But here in New York, specifically for industry workers, there is a program called IGC Hospitality, excuse me. So IGChospitality.com has launched a program to help out of work hospitality workers. They have an outreach called Family Meal that is providing completely free meals to anyone in the industry. And apparently they have a really simple process for applying for that and covering the cost of those meals for you. So again, IGChospitality.com has a process for getting out of work hospitality workers completely free meals right now. Okay, so definitely check them out. You might want to start with them if like you literally do not have a way to get food today. Go there first, and then turn your attention to, like I said, local bars and restaurants that are doing low cost giveaways, low cost meals, or giving away food. Places like CORE, the Children of Restaurant Employees, and your government, local, state, etc. agencies that are providing food for individuals children and families with children. All right. And I'm not seeing any questions from anybody, so I'm going to keep going. If you do have questions about these things, drop them down below. Like I said, I'll do my best to answer them, but I will be including links to where I got this information, and going directly to these foundations websites will probably give you the most information, but feel free to drop it down below if you would like to ask me a question. All right. Next, I want to talk to you real quick about health insurance. I know that that's a real issue for hospitality workers long before COVID-19, because the vast majority of us work for employers that do not offer health insurance for their hourly employees. And so a huge chunk of the service industry does not have health insurance. And even with the government's efforts to get health insurance to more individuals, many of us remain uninsured. And that is a really scary proposition when there is a health crisis, because, you know, obviously the cost of healthcare is incredibly, ridiculously high in this country. And so you might really be worried about that. The various state governments and federal government are working on initiatives and stimulus packages, etc., that are working to address this issue. But you know, while they're worrying or working on that stuff, you might feel like you need health insurance right now. And one resource that I found, which is pretty cool, is through Chilled magazine. And again, this article where you can get this information is going to be linked below. But Chilled magazine has something called their Chilled 100 members, and it's basically for like bartenders who have gotten membership to like this community of bartenders. And for the last few years, those members have gotten health insurance as a part of like their package of being a Chilled 100 member. And I don't know how much it costs to be a part of the membership, but I don't think it's crazy. But they have offered health insurance, which is pretty cool. But the cooler thing is that during this crisis, Chilled magazine has opened up that program to all bartenders. Now, I do believe it's limited to bartenders. I don't think it's for all restaurant workers. Again, you know, check out the article or sign up for Chilled magazine so that you can get more information about that. Or consider becoming a Chilled 100 member, because then you're definitely entitled to health insurance through that package. But they offer health insurance to their members and are right now offering health insurance to all bartenders, or are planning to open up for all bartenders. So if you're trying to get health insurance, you know, it may not be like the most extensive health insurance package, but they are working to get bartenders everywhere some form of health coverage, which you could find very helpful right now to cover testing, cover our doctor's appointments, or what have you, if the government doesn't take care of that bill. So definitely check out Chilled magazine and their Chilled 100 membership and the health insurance that they are providing to bartenders. And again, like I said, that appears to be specifically for just bartenders right now. So if you are a restaurant worker, I would go to my state government website and see if you can apply for Medicaid or some type of low-cost health insurance through what's called the marketplace. So New York does this, but I think every state does this. You can go to the state website and see basically what low-cost health insurance through private providers you qualify for. And they kind of facilitate the process rather than you sitting on the phone and calling, you know, every health insurance company in the Rolodex on I was going to say in the phone book, but like, do people still get the phone book? You know what I mean? All the health insurance companies that you can find, rather than doing that, which is like an impossible task, your state government's website will allow you to like plug in your income, plug in your financial information, and they will give you a list of insurance packages that you would qualify for, and like how much it would be and all of that stuff. So your state's government social media pages and your state government's websites are going to be really, really useful sources of information. So if you haven't checked those out, definitely do that. Okay? Next, I want to talk about some kind of out of the ordinary community-based ways of getting funding, of learning about what's going on with your fellow bartenders, just being a part of the community, because that's going to be really important. It is really important for us right now. The reason that I'm even aware of all of these different resources is because I am a part of various community groups, online groups, that are hospitality worker specific. So you too can have access to this information and know what forms of assistance or funding, events, like online events or things like that that could benefit you. So definitely make sure that you are trying to be involved in like what's going on in the community. One thing that I have seen happening on social media, which I think is super amazing and you should look for it in your area, are virtual tip jars. And I don't know if any of you have seen these popping up as well. I saw one for Philadelphia. I know there's one happening in DC. That was like a week ago, the first time I saw it. So I assume that it has expanded and other places have picked up on this. But basically, they're just like online community groups where people can like tip their favorite bartenders while their bartender is out of work. And that's pretty cool. They are using platforms like PayPal and Cash App, etc., so that people who are your regulars or who are customers who just want to help out their local bartenders can go and basically like tip you through the tip jar, and you get a piece of the money that's coming in on the tips. And because they are not nonprofits, they're not formal charities, they're not these structured organizations, they don't have these $2,500, the big payouts that you might need that some of the formal charities might be able to help you out with. But if you just need a couple bucks here or there, you might want to join up for one of these virtual tip jars. So go on social media, #virtual tip jar, and see if you can find tip jars that are popping up in your local community that you could be a part of. The other thing that's been really cool is I have been seeing bartenders creating, or bars and restaurants creating, virtual happy hours. So organizations, groups, individual bartenders, bars and restaurants, they are using platforms like Zoom, which is basically like FaceTime for multiple people, or Google Hangouts. These online platforms, GoToMeeting, I think I've seen too, but these online platforms that allow a lot of people to join in at once and you can all see each other. They have been using these platforms to do virtual happy hours, where like at the same time every day, they come together so that people can kind of just hang out and talk. Everybody's in their apartment making their own drink, having their own beer, but they're able to talk to each other. This is really useful for a whole host of reasons. Not only is staying in touch with your fellow bartenders going to help you know about situations that are going on in the community and in the industry as people talk and share information and resources, it's also just good for your mental health. There's probably a reason why you are a bartender or a server. There's probably a part of you that thrives in social settings, and being stuck in your house might be the craziest thing for you right now. And I feel for you. I am one of those weird introvert extroverts. So like I could go out every single night and be fine. And I could also like not leave my house for months and probably also be okay. Like I'm on day 6 and like it's a little bit weird, but like, you know, I don't like people as much as I like act like I like people. So like, I'm all right. And I've been FaceTiming and I've been doing virtual happy hours and stuff. So like, I'm okay with this type of online interaction. So if you are just like going absolutely crazy, not being able to interact with people, virtual happy hours are going to really, really help you out. They are so much fun. The ones that I've sat in on, even if you don't say anything, like I went to one and I just kind of like sat back, but it's just fun to be interacting with people, and just like shooting the shit, you know, like not watching the news and just kind of like hanging out with people who understand what you're going through. That has been really helpful. So you can use the hashtag virtual happy hour, and you will find more information about online happy hours that are happening. I'm going to tell you about one in particular that I got to participate in. It's called Danny and Jackie's Virtual Happy Hour. And of course, the website where you can get information about it is down below. They use Zoom to host their virtual happy hour. It's created by people in the craft cocktail community. So there's definitely like a craft cocktail kind of bend to it. It's mostly craft cocktail bartenders. They are working with premium spirits. Their sponsors are premium spirit brands, etc. But in no way are they like exclusive to that. I just want to give you that heads up so you're aware. But what's really cool about this happy hour is they have managed to actually secure sponsorship from some really big liquor brands that is helping them to actually do this. So they are very structured, very organized. They've got everything they need to make it run seamlessly. And they're doing it like every single night. So it's happening every night. Through their schedule right now, I think is like up through the first week of April, but they plan to keep going if they need to. It happens every night at 6 o'clock, and then they have a cocktails after dark, so they come back and they do it again at 11 o'clock on Zoom. So it's pretty cool to have it happen multiple times a day. And like I said, the information on how to join will be down below. You just kind of fill out your information and they send you the Zoom link. But the other really cool thing about what they're doing is every night they feature a new bartender. And you, the bartender, on your phone, or laptop or whatever, you make a cocktail with the liquor from their sponsored brand and you get tipped. So this is like the coolest thing. My friend Amanda was one of the featured bartenders, so I can tell you it's legit, it's 100%. It happens, it's pretty dope. But basically what happened was a liquor brand sponsored that show, and so she was provided with the liquor that she needed to make the cocktail. I think this is how this worked. Then during the show, she made her cocktail, her unique cocktail, shared her recipe, and then got to put her PayPal and her Venmo information in the comments. And then all the other bartenders who were watching, there were like 20 other bartenders or whoever who was watching could tip her. And, you know, she didn't make money to live off of, you know, she's not like winning the lotto or whatever, but she made a nice chunk of change to, you know, I won't share her personal business, but I'll just say, you know, over $100 in tips that night for just showing off a new cocktail and making a cocktail. So Danny and Jackie's virtual happy hour is super cool that they're doing that, but there are other happy hours that are doing this. So definitely go on social media, hashtag virtual happy hour. Look for other groups that are doing this as well, because they might be doing the same thing, but you might be able to find online happy hours where you could actually make a couple dollars. And I know that we all need every bit that we can get right now, and so this might be not only a great way for you to interact with people in the community and stay active, but you might actually be able to make a little bit of money from it. You can also consider doing this for yourself. For those of you who have a social media following, if you built up really good relationships with your regulars, remember, they are cooped up in their houses as well. So consider starting a virtual happy hour through Zoom, through Google Hangouts, live on YouTube, what have you, and making cocktails or teaching how to make drinks or sharing recipes or whatever, and put up your pay information. I'm so grateful that we live in a day and age where you don't have to give anybody your personal bank information. You can give them your Venmo, your Cash App, your PayPal, and they can send you money. And there are potentially plenty of people out there who want to help out and don't know how. And that could be a great, fun way for you to interact and also, make some money for yourself. So join one of these virtual happy hours or consider creating one for yourself. Okay? I want to talk to you guys about ways to help. All right? Not all of us are in a position where bars and restaurants closing is financially affecting us. Some of us are able to continue working. Some of us have other forms of employment. Some of us watching this video are not in the hospitality industry yet. If you're on my page, there's a really good chance that you follow me because you want to get into the hospitality industry, but you're not yet, and you have some other form of employment, some other career, income, salary, etc. If you love the hospitality industry, if you call yourself a foodie, if you have been in my comments on my video saying, oh my God, I love bartenders and I want to be a bartender, this is a perfect opportunity for you to show just how serious you are about that comment. Do you really love bartenders? Do you love your bartender? Do you really care about this industry and want to be a part of this community? Put your money where your mouth is and help out your local bars, restaurants, and service workers, because one day you might be a bartender. And this might not be the last time that we experience something that causes bars and restaurants to shutter their doors and close for business. And it could be you on the receiving end of funding and assistance specifically for hospitality workers. So now's a great time to go ahead and sow your bar karma, as we call it, and put your money where your mouth is and help out. All right? Lots of ways that you can do this. And every single one of the foundations, funds, charities, agencies, etc., that I mentioned previously and that I'm going to be linking down below are taking donations. Every single last one of them. Close your eyes, scroll, pick one. They will take your money, all right? They need it more than ever. So if you want to donate and make a difference, click on any one of the links in the articles that I'm going to link below and donate money to those organizations. But before you do that, might I make a suggestion? And this is just my opinion. It is just a suggestion. But I highly recommend that you start locally. Okay, most of those foundations are national. But if you really want to make a difference, if you really want to put money into the pockets of the people who just served you your dinner a few weeks ago, the last time you went out for a meal, or to that amazing bartender that made your birthday get together the best ever, or to that food runner that went out of their way to chase you down the street when you left your debit card in the check presenter. If you really want to get money and assistance to the people in your community who have been there for you when you have gone out to eat, start locally, okay? Sorry, someone just said, hey, I'm so late. Please tell me you're going to stay on longer. I'm not leaving yet. I have a couple more topics that I want to talk to you guys about, so don't worry about that. But the really cool thing about YouTube Live is you can actually go back and start from the beginning now if you want to. But you don't have to. All of the resources that I've already shared will be linked down below. As soon as I'm done, give me a few minutes. I'm gonna type everything up and put it all in the description box, so you'll be able to get all of these resources. But I do have a few more things to cover, so I'm not going anywhere for a little while. What I'm talking about right now is about ways that you can help. So I spent the first part of this video talking about different resources for those of you who are in dire need of assistance right now. But for those of you who feel like they can help, whether you're in the hospitality industry or not, now is a great time for you to really make a difference for the bartenders, servers, hospitality workers that you claim to care so much about. Now's your chance to really make a difference. And what I was saying is I encourage you to start locally first. All right. There is a really good chance that your favorite bar or restaurant has started up some type of initiative to raise money for their specific employees. Okay. So bars and restaurants are using platforms like GoFundMe to create fundraising efforts so that people can donate money, and those bars and restaurants can turn around and literally just split that money up and give it to their employees, or use that money to buy food supplies, etc., and cook family meal. I know some restaurants are just, this is pretty amazing. They're collecting money on GoFundMe and using that money to buy food so that every day their kitchen employees can come in, get paid to come in, cook food, and then give family meal to their employees who need help feeding themselves, which is like so dope. All right, so I want you to start locally. And it's just as simple as, oh, I love going to Patty's Pub. Let me go to Patty's Pub on Instagram and see what they're doing. And I guarantee you that if Patty's Pub is raising money for their staff, they have already posted about it on their social media page, and it should be super easy for you to find out what the link is or what website they're using or how you can give money to Patty's Pub's employees, okay? This is especially useful if you don't have the social media information for, the specific employee that you want to help. If you want to do that though, do that too. If you're a regular at a bar and you have the social media handle for your favorite bartender, hit them up and message them and say, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? I know the bar has been closed for the last 2 weeks. Are you good? You're my favorite. I love you. You've always taken care of me. You've always hooked me up with buybacks. Every time it's my birthday, you hook me up. Like, reach out to those hospitality workers. We are people too. We are human beings. And we need to know that people care about us just like anybody else. So reach out to those individuals. Use the power of social media to contact people who normally you would not be able to contact without knowing their phone number, their address, or whatever. Send them a message on social media and say, hey, is there anything that I can do? What's your PayPal, bro? Let me send you 20 bucks. I just want to say thank you for all you've done for me, and just say, I hope you're okay. I work from home. I'm still getting paid. I know you don't have that luxury. Let me help you out. That's huge. That is amazing thing to do for somebody, and it would require like next to no work on your part. So start there. Start with the bartenders and servers in your community. Start with the bars and restaurants in your community. Find out what they are doing or what they need. Reach out to them, offer donations, etc. Okay? Once you've done that, then certainly go to the big national organizations and consider making donations to them so that your help goes even farther and even wider in terms of helping more people. And of course, social media platforms like Facebook have started their own fundraising efforts as well. So you can certainly look into things like that. All right. The next thing that I want to do, because I've pretty much talked for an hour straight, for those of you who are still here, kudos to you, with a whole bunch of ideas for how you can receive funding and what you can do to help. And I just want to ask you, for the handful of people who are in here right now, how are you? How the hell are you? Are you in hospitality? Are you somebody who wanted to be a bartender, or somebody who was already bartending, and your bar or restaurant is closed? I have a couple. Sorry, I got disconnected there for a second. So it's reconnected, I think. I've been having spotty internet connection issues. I don't know if you guys need the most amount of help. If you've tried to apply for any of these funds and want to share your experience, definitely do so. I do know from the feedback on my social media pages, you know, that like I said, phone lines are busy, websites are crashing, applications are taking forever. But just keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. You know, these services just are not, we're not prepared to have hundreds of thousands of bartenders all of a sudden out of work. You know, so definitely just keep that in mind. But if anybody, especially if you've gotten through and received some funding, I'd love to know if you have any advice for people who are also trying. Cece says, I work at a lounge on the international side of the airport in Atlanta. They let all of us go, filing for partial unemployment. Thank you for checking out my videos. I appreciate that. I know that in states like California, which was like the first state, I believe, to go ahead and just shut down all bars and restaurants, they have actually set up a special type of unemployment for hospitality workers specifically. So definitely check out your state websites, like I said, to see whether or not they've either created special hospitality worker unemployment services, or if they have like relaxed the rules on unemployment, food stamps, Medicaid, rent, Section 8, like rent, low rent services, etc. A lot of states have been doing that, where they're like, they're not changing their programs, but they're changing the requirements to apply for the program to take into account that people who once had income now suddenly don't. So definitely check those out. Cece, I would definitely thank you for sharing that Georgia has a partial unemployment that you can qualify for. So people in the state of Georgia, if you haven't looked into that, definitely look into that. Cece says that she was pursuing being a bartender. Yeah, you know, it's really funny. Like, on the one hand, it might seem like, you know, why would I try to become a bartender now? Like, bars and restaurants don't exist. But I'm one of those people that always looks at the silver lining of every dark cloud. I'm always super optimistic. It might be just because I'm a New Yorker, and in New York we have gone through things that, like, from crack in the 80s to the Bronx burning down in the early 90s to 9/11 to Hurricane Sandy to subway strikes and closures. I mean, we've just been through a lot as a city. And so I know with absolute certainty that we are going to bounce back from this. I absolutely know that. I know that there will be individual bars and restaurants that do not have the funding and the resources to keep going, and they might be lost. But I know that as a whole, we are not heading to a world where bars and restaurants don't exist. I just don't believe that. And so we still need a thriving, educated, hardworking hospitality industry, and we need people to be in that industry. So I know it might seem like a weird thing to say, but Cece, I encourage you to continue that pursuit of bartending. I love this industry, and I love being a bartender. And there are so many things that I have learned from being a bartender that have nothing to do with making drinks. And I'm so grateful that I have gotten to work and serve people in this industry. If helping people, serving people, being there for people is something that you care about, you know, it might sound crazy to say this, but I know without a doubt that I have helped people in need as a bartender. There have been people who I've literally hugged while they cried. There have been people who've come to my bar in tears, family members who passed away. They've got terrible news about illnesses, diseases, and having a conversation with them, treating them like a person, giving them a shot and saying, it's going to be all right. Is there anything I can do for you? How can I help you? That has gone so far for people. I have had people, and this is not me being like, oh, I'm so amazing. I know that this happens to every single one of my fellow bartenders. There have been people who at the end of their meal, at the end of their drinks, when they go to close out their tab, have written me notes, full-length letters on the back of their receipts. Thank you so much for talking to me today. Thank you so much for greeting me with a smile and just being kind. I have had a shit day and you are the only person that was nice to me today. Like, it is amazing the ways that you can help somebody by serving them with kindness and compassion and loving what you do and letting them see that. So I encourage you to continue that pursuit of entering into this industry. I know that we will bounce back from this. I know that we will be thriving and bartenders and servers will go back to making great money. And in fact, I think things are going to be even better when this is all over with, because now restaurants and bars are going to be really thinking about, how can I make sure that my employees never go through this again? How can we protect ourselves? How can we, not to get political, but who can I support in my local government, in my state government, in my federal government, that is going to make sure that my employees have insurance, that my business is protected, that there are regulations on safety and health that keep us from getting sick like this ever again. I do believe that we're going to be a better industry for this. I feel deeply for everyone who is negatively impacted right now, but I know that we are going to come through this. Things are going to be so much better when we do, and being a member of the hospitality industry is going to be even better than it already is. So I continue to pursue that. I have my online course, and I am not bartending right now. My husband is a ticket broker for a ticket sales company that, as soon as all of event spaces closed down and all sporting events got canceled, his company basically went under. So we are a household now with 2 unemployed people. That is freaking scary. I cannot lie. It's a very sort of sobering moment to go from being fully employed to all of a sudden both people in a household not being employed. It is scary for sure. But I am so happy that I'm a part of the hospitality industry, because I know that we are going to bounce back from this. So definitely consider continuing my online course. This is not a time for me where I care about plugging myself, so forgive me. I'm just mentioning it because it's the only one that I know. If you can't go to bartending school right now, you probably can't. If you are sheltered in place, I don't know if bartending schools count as essential businesses. I assume that they don't. So my assumption is that they are closed. So if you were hoping to go to bartending school, online courses right now are the way to go. My online course is different from others that I've seen because it's an entire bartending school's course worth of material, all provided to you online. And in addition, I send you my RockStar Bar Kit. So one of the things that people like about bartending school is actually having the tools, shakers, strainers, bar spoons, all that stuff to actually make drinks. And if you can't get to a bartending school, other online courses don't necessarily do that. I actually send you a full portable bar kit so that you have all the tools at your house to make drinks along with me in the course. So consider that. It is on special right now because of the emergency. Use the code ACT NOW, all capital letters, ACT NOW, to sign up for the course. It's 20% off. And if you've got time on your hands, now might be a really good time for you to get a solid background in the fundamentals of bartending, so that when we bounce back, when bars and restaurants open up, you can be a competitive applicant for bars and restaurants that might need new staff, because hiring their old staff might not be an option for them. So, check that out. But there are other online courses as well. I'm not the only one. So look into that as an option. But educate yourself and still consider joining this industry. I'm so grateful to be a part of it. Cece says, New Yorkers are so strong. You might have already said it. Have you and your family been affected? Yeah, thank you for asking if I'm okay. I was asking you guys if you guys are okay. I am okay. I don't know. I don't typically share a lot of personal information on this channel. I think that's the Leo in me. I always want to kind of like keep it professional and keep it on topic. But I am a spiritual person. My spirituality is really important to me, and it's really helpful to me. I do have a spirituality based YouTube and Instagram. You can find me at the handle Bronx Witch. So that helps me a lot. But even aside from that, I'm just naturally an optimistic person. I'm a strong and resilient person. I don't think there's anything that can really, at the end of the day, break my spirit. I get sad, scared, upset, just like anybody else, but I don't let my spirit get too bogged down because I believe in myself. I ultimately believe in the goodness of people, and I believe that there is a greater purpose for all of us to be here, and I don't think that it's just to like perish in a fiery ball of nonsense. So we are always going to face really, really big challenges, but that is the purpose of life. In my opinion, that is why we were here. If life were a cakewalk, we wouldn't learn anything, and there'd literally be no reason for us to bother with the life experience at all. I think we are all here to go through challenging times and difficulties, to grow and to learn and to get stronger, and then to reach out and lend a helping hand to the next person who maybe isn't as strong as we are, or who's having a tougher time. That's really spiritual. I get that. I know not a lot of people come from that kind of mindset. And so what's going on right now is just 100% awful, terrible, the end of the world. And there's just, nothing good that can come of it. So I know that might be annoying to hear me being like, this is great, we're going to learn. But I truly feel that way. I've been using this time I've been taking a morning yoga class that's not actually yoga. It's my yoga instructor getting on Facebook every morning and reading a chapter from the book, The Perfection of Yoga, it's basically a summary of the Bhagavad Gita, which is the Hindu sacred text from which we get the practice of yoga. Probably sounds really freaking boring to a lot of you, but I was like, whenever am I going to actually be interested in tuning into something like that? But now I have like all the time in the world. I braided my hair the other day because why not? I got time, you know what I mean? I've been cooking up a storm. Tomorrow I'm gonna deep clean my apartment from head to toe. So I've just been doing things that normally I would, make excuses and say I don't have time to do. So I've been using that time as productively as I can. I hope that each of you, is doing the same thing. But yeah, so we've been definitely financially affected. Some of my friends are in industries where they're basically just being paid to be at home. Some of them have to work from home. Some of them don't even have to work. They're just paid. I have friends who work for state agencies, and they're just being paid to go home, to just be at home. We don't have that luxury with both of our industries, just by coincidence being decimated by this pandemic. So we are, really having to take great care when it comes to finances, but that doesn't scare me, because I believe that we can do it, and we will figure it out. So I'm okay, and I hope you guys are okay as well. which actually brings me to my final topic, and that is other ways to be okay other than getting assistance and the financial resources that you need to pay your bills, you know, feed yourselves and your family and all of that. Turn off the TV, all right? I have a couple of friends who, like, you know, it's just like doomsday central on their social media pages. It's like they must have CNN on, or not even CNN, but like their local news on all day long. And they're watching like every press conference, every update. Like, bro, don't do that to yourself. Be informed, be prepared, do yourself a favor, sign up for your Apple News on your phone, or, you know, get notifications from your local news place or whatever, so you get a text message or a notification when breaking news happens. But otherwise, turn off the fucking TV, for real. The first couple of days my husband had the TV on like continuously, and I'm like, day 2 I was just like, turn it off, turn it off. Like, we know about the shelter in place rule. We know that non-essential businesses have been closed. We know about that stuff. We know that the governments on the state and federal level are working on stimulus packages, etc. I have to believe that we will get a letter or something in the mail if the government wants to cut us a fat check. You know, so other than that, there really isn't anything that I need to know. I don't need to have a minute by minute play on how many people are dying, how many people are sick, how many ventilators my local hospital needs. Like, chill the fuck out with that shit. It is going to drive you crazy. You are ruining your spirit. You are not in any way helping yourself. Do not tell yourself that you are just being prepared or you're just being informed. No, you're not, all right? You are letting your anxiety get the best of you, and you are negatively impacting your time on this earth at this moment. Use this time to do positive things. FaceTime with your cousin from Nebraska who you haven't seen in 10 years. Reach out to people that you don't talk to as often. Pick up a hobby, fucking exercise, like get a you know, pick up a craft, watch YouTube and Instagram live. Oh my god, the best thing ever. I just love it. My Instagram lives are, there's like 10 people going live at any given time during this whole quarantine thing, and it's fantastic. I love watching YouTube. I love watching Instagram live. It's like better than TV because I can leave comments and be annoying and say shit back. It's great. Watch those things. People are reaching out to their communities and doing lives. Find your favorite YouTube person. I'm sure they're doing live shit. Like, do things that are actually helpful. Learn how to cook a dish. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, weave a rug, you know, but learn how to knit. But like, do productive things that lift your spirits and that keep you in a positive mentality, because at the end of the day, like, how are you benefiting yourself by depressing the hell out of yourself with negative information? Like, just ask yourself that question. How am I actually helping myself? Because you're not, right? Like, if you bought all the toilet paper, you got your hand sanitizer, you locked yourself in your house, and, you know, you took all those precautions. Now that you've done that, what else is there to do but to wait for this to pass? How you spend that time while we wait for this to pass is up to you. You can spend it freaking out and like ruining your soul, or you can be productive and find ways to help yourself and help others. It's your choice. All right. I know I've chosen this one. I chose this one from day one, and I'm going to keep rocking with that. And I really don't care if like the world around me burns down. At no point am I going to become like one of these super paranoid negative people. It's just like, it's just stop it. Stop it. Stop it. CC, I see why I love you. I'm taking this time to do so much, including learn how to pour. I have water in a Bacardi bottle. Yes, okay. If you're a jigger pourer, learn to free pour. If you free pour, learn how to jigger pour. Learn a skill, for crying out loud. Make lemonade from scratch. Why? Because shit, it's going to take about 20 minutes. That's 20 minutes of your quarantine time, okay? Like, do something. The other night, my husband and I were on FaceTime with his friend and his wife, and we spent 2 hours, bro, I kid you not, 2 hours singing the theme songs to shows we used to watch when we were a kid. And the rule was no one could Google it. So we had to try to remember like how it went. Turns out my friend's wife is really good at like the mouth tuba, like I can't do it, but she can do it and she really sounds like a tuba. So we were singing it while she like did the music. And of course we were drinking while we were doing this, so that didn't hurt. 2.5 hours later, we look up at the time, we're like, oh my God, have we really been doing this for 2 hours? That is crazy, but it was so much fun. And it was a fun thing to do, and it was silly and it was stupid. But under normal circumstances, none of us would have 2 hours between the hours of 9 and 11 to do that. I would be bartending somewhere. My husband would be getting ready for work, so he had to get up at the ass crack of dawn. You know, none of us would be able to do that type of thing. So take advantage of this time. Learn how to do new things. Take my online course. Apparently it takes about 10 hours. So boom, that's 10 hours right there. But like, just do stuff, you know what I'm saying? And turn off the TV. Please turn off the TV. I encourage you to do self-care. When was the last time you gave yourself a pedicure? Huh? Feet probably look crazy right now. You can't go to a nail salon, can you? Like I said, I did my hair, you know, myself. I did not know how to do braids like this small before I did this. And I was like, well, you know what? I got time to try, and I think it came out okay. You know what I mean? So like, and the great news is no one but you guys are going to see me for like another 2 weeks. So it doesn't matter. But honestly, jokes aside, I really encourage you guys to take this time to do positive things for yourself, care for yourself, take that long bath, take a nap in the middle of the day, cook something delicious, like just take care of yourselves, because the compulsive news watching and doomsday shit is just, even if it's true, it's not going to help you. So take that into consideration. I will take a moment to tell you guys, like I said, I am a spiritual person. I don't necessarily talk about that much on this page, but I do want you to know that I do talk about it extensively on my spirituality pages. I have a YouTube channel under the name Bronx Witch, and I have an Instagram channel that I've been really active with because I got time, at Bronx Witch on Instagram. I do weekly tarot readings, and I participate in various yoga sessions, breathwork sessions, meditation sessions, things of that nature that have been really helping me to stay grounded, stay calm, stay positive. And, you know, whatever your particular religious or spiritual background is, or even if you have none whatsoever, you can't lie that like sitting and meditating to some brainwave music isn't fucking just relaxing, right? Like regardless of what you think it's doing to your psyche or your soul, it's just relaxing. So I encourage you to like look into stuff like that. Literally thousands of hours of like meditative brainwave music on YouTube. Turn off the TV, turn that on instead, and like relax. I will let you know that I do tarot readings, and right now I am doing free tarot readings for everybody who is a healthcare professional on my Bronx Witch page. You can get more information at Bronx Witch on Instagram. So if you or you know somebody is a healthcare professional and they are into spirituality, the occult, tarot, etc., I'm just doing those readings for free because I think it's freaking amazing what our healthcare professionals are doing. The fact that every day they expose themselves and their families to this contagious disease in order to do their jobs and help people is just so incredibly admirable. And you know, we all have our own talents. Tarot reading is one of mine, so that is what I am doing to try to give back to them. And I encourage you to do the same. It feels really, really good in times of need to help others. So if you have some talent, some service, some product, consider giving it away for free or at a super low cost to people in the healthcare industry, first responders, you know, people who don't have the luxury to stay at home right now. That will make you feel good, I promise. And this upcoming Tuesday, I believe that is March 31st, I want to say, March 31st. I've actually been, like I said, down below will be links to all of the articles, as well as the different virtual happy hours and other resources that I mentioned. I will try to include as much information as possible, but remember, that if you go to the articles that I posted, they have all the information. I don't want to, like, you know, make the description like too crazy. So rather than repeating all of that stuff on there, I'm just going to link you to the articles where I got this information. Also, the articles are online and they are being updated by those writers, you know, by Imbibe Magazine and Chilled Magazine. So they will be up to date even more than like my description will be. So anywho, I hope that you guys really enjoyed this. I hope you found it useful. Please, if you know of any other resources that bartenders, servers, or anybody in the restaurant industry could benefit from, definitely leave a comment down below. Share what you know so that we can get this information to those of us in the industry that really need the help. Okay, so thank you guys so much. I appreciate it, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, rock stars.